Hey guys, I'm BoredGamer, and this is a video about some VR stuff and the Vive. I've just purchased a HTC Vive myself on pre-order, so I'm going to talk about why I've gone for the Vive over the Oculus Rift, and all about the prices and specs and all that jazz, comparing the two a little bit. Done a video about this before, but today is actually the pre-order day, and we've seen a bit more about the specs and actually what we're getting from the Vive. So specs-wise, the Vive and the Oculus are pretty similar, 2160 by 1200 resolution at 90Hz refresh rate, 110 degrees field of view, positional tracking in some way, shape or form, some with lasers. The delivery, Oculus are going to start to be delivering their orders from the 28th of March, HTC Vive from the 5th of April, and though if you order an Oculus at the moment, you're going to be waiting at least until July. So where do they differ? And there are some quite major differences. What's in the box? Let's start with that with the HTC Vive. So you get the headset, two wireless controllers, the actual HTC Vive controllers there, two base stations enabling a 360-degree room-scale motion tracking environment at a larger area than that of the Oculus. Also, you get some bundled software. You get Google's Tilt Brush, fantastic contraption, and Job Simulator. This is for a limited period of time. At some point, they won't be bundled with that software anymore. Pricing-wise, US $799 plus any sales tax. In the UK, that's £689 plus delivery, and Euro, it's €899 plus shipping, which is insane. That is expensive, but relatively comparable to the Oculus if you consider the inclusion of those Vive controllers, although it is an incredibly expensive product. Ergonomics-wise, the Oculus looks a lot less bulky and more streamlined than the Vive. Fitting and comfort-wise, though, genuinely, is down to personal preference. I was comfortable with the DK2, so both of these headsets are a world more comfortable than that. They're going to be lighter, and they're going to be supported much better. Larger tracking area on the Vive. It's a common misconception that the Oculus can't do area tracking. I think the Oculus's area tracking is around 5 by 11 feet. The HTC Vive just does a 15 by 15 foot area, and it's more likely to be better. It's got a few other systems in place that's going to make it a lot more suited to room and a few other VR experiences that you might want. The front-facing camera and the chaperone system. Although the Oculus now are talking about having a pre-programmed safe zone, the chaperone and augmented reality mode of the Vive are massive selling points. As a front-facing camera that will be able to be programmed to see things in the world, or be able to turn on and off to be able to see stuff in the world. So you can see your mouse and keyboard in front of you. You can see obstacles, children, Roombas, cats, that sort of thing that might run around your room for some reason. You can also going to be able to sync it up with your smartphone to be able to receive calls in VR, stuff like that. So the chaperone system is going to allow you to more easily move in a 3D space in real life to have that better immersion experience. So the Oculus has its pistol-gripped Oculus Touch motion control devices. They're not on sale yet, and they're not bundled with the Oculus at all. They do look pretty cool, but for my needs, I much prefer the HTC Vive's motion controllers, which are bundled, especially at that price you would expect them to be, with the HTC Vive. And they're pretty cool. They've got haptic feedback, they've got 24 sensors each, so they've got pretty accurate motion tracking, and they've got lots of triggers and dials on them as well. I like the way they look, and I think they're going to be a lot better for my needs. And again, that's extremely down to personal preference. Do you prefer the wand grip, or do you prefer a pistoled grip? And do they have the features that you want? So the Oculus does have audio built in, but the Vive was suggested that it was going to come with inbuilt audio, and I don't believe it does now. It's not described on any of its, on the website that it has it anymore. It's not part of the pre-order package. So the Oculus does have that integrated audio. It does have the detachable headphones. I have my own headphones. It's not an issue for me. I assume a lot of people do. But if you're desperately wanting integrated audio with your headset, then the Oculus definitely has that edge. Platform support. Steam VR is the main platform for the Vive. The Oculus will be able to use the Oculus Store and also Steam VR. So the Oculus definitely has the edge on availability and accessibility to more games and software, at least at the start. For me, I want to only play certain games. well, in games in particular anyway. Source 2 games, Star Citizen, and a few other major titles I've seen that I desperately want to play. These are going to be fully supported with the Vive, well, I expect anyway. You can't see what the future will hold for everything. The Oculus will have access to that stuff as well, and more. Again, as I said, at least at the beginning. Some of the stuff is going to be much more easy to integrate for Oculus than it will with Vive, and vice versa, I would expect. Stability of the companies. So, companies-wise, Facebook and Oculus, they have a lot of money. They're doing extremely well. While HTC isn't as financially healthy, and it's not doing the best at the moment. Though I don't see this as a massive, massive factor. It's always something to keep in mind, though, with future development and support should the worst happen. Recommended VR and system specs and requirements. They're pretty similar between the Vive and the Oculus and all these system requirements. You're basically going to need a sustained 90 frames a second to get a good VR experience. So the barriers to entry to the PCs are pretty high. But even though that's there, the Vive seems to actually require less than the Oculus does. It requires only 4 gigs of RAM while the Oculus requires 8, and it only has need for a single USB 2 port compared to the 4 that the Oculus requires. Both Steam VR and Oculus have their little test program to see if your system is truly VR ready, according to their specifications of that anyway. I'll put links to that in the description below for anyone that's interested. Though the one showing at the moment is Steam VR's one, which gives us a little cool look at the Source 2 engine in Steam VR. So for me, the reason I chose the HTC Vive is the larger usable area. I'm going to be able to run around and do silly things in a larger space. It's got that chaperone system, so I'm going to be able to see my mouse, my keyboard, my HOTAS, other controllers, whatever else in my room if stuff is moving around. The front-facing camera as well is obviously part of that. Hopefully, we're going to see better Steam VR integration. That is a hope. That is a leap of faith there. I really want to play Source 2 games on this. And also we've got the controllers for the HTC Vive. They've all contributed to my purchase of the Vive. I really like the idea of these controllers. And you've got to remember, these have been tested for the games that I want to play, Source 2 games. The lack of audio isn't an issue for me. I have my own light wireless headphones and a mod mic for comms. One of the new Antlion mod mics, mod mic 4. They are amazing. I'll be doing a review of them at some point as well, and I think they're going to be great for VR. This is, though, first generation consumer tech, and there is good sense in waiting to buy, as everything is super expensive at the moment, and no one is really sure where VR and all these headsets are going to be in 3 years' time. When it comes to Oculus, the Vive, or another headset, it is kind of down to personal preference, in my opinion, at the moment. What features do you need? There is no hands-down winner for price to features to value at the moment. Otherwise, I wouldn't have to been considering what I was going to buy for so long. And that said, I want to be playing Source 2 games, Star Citizen, and some other big AAA titles. So the fact that the Oculus Store might have availability to a few more indie games and people's projects doesn't put me off the HTC Vive, which I expect will have its own way of dealing with this anyway, and I expect that the Steam VR will have a lot of access to all of that stuff that's in the Oculus Store as well, but I just can't guarantee that, and I'm not exactly what form these are all going to take in the future. I really want to be able to run around in that larger space. I'm going to get a treadmill as well. I'm going to get the Omni Virtuix, the black and green one with the base. That's something I'm waiting for at the moment to arrive. Hopefully they'll arrive at the same time as my HTC Vive. But anyway, guys, what do you think of the HTC Vive, its price, its features, how they compare to the Oculus? Which of the headsets are you considering, or which would you buy even if you're not considering buy them? Are you going to have a seat instead and just wait for the next generation of VR and just see how it all blows over? Please let me know in the comments below. I will read all of them because this is literally all I do, read comments and make videos. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really does help me, and I will see you in the verse, or the virtual verse, virtual reality, you know what I mean.